We've been traveling in Vietnam and Cambodia for over a month now. My brother Patrick and I, Dennis, want to travel by motorcycle along the Mekong, up to the north of Laos. On our way, we fight our way through deep jungle.
Another drink is good to drink, another drink is poison.
And experience adventures over thousands of kilometers that push us to our limits again and again. Now we're really in shit. We're in the middle of nowhere. All this to experience stories that move us.
I came across a bomb and it exploded.
Everyone please leave the premises.
2, 1.
We're just short of the Laotian border. Before we leave Cambodia for good, we make a detour to the northeast of the country. After days full of heat and dust, it's time to relax.
This is a great place to spend an afternoon.
But Cambodia's Ratanakiri province has more to offer than just volcanic lakes and waterfalls. The real reason for our trip to this area is a huge jungle that stretches across the borders of Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam.
That's always the case when a car comes towards you at 80 kilometers an hour on a dusty road like this. Then you always disappear in a cloud of dust.
At the edge of the jungle, we've arranged to meet Kham in his village. He leads travelers on camping trips into the jungle.
For how long are you already working as a guide?
I work since 2016. Yes, until now. Yes, that be a guide.
Frick will also come with us. Like Kham, he belongs to the ethnic minorities who've lived closely connected to the forests here for generations.
Prick, did he grow up here in this area?
Yeah, in this area. Yeah. Okay. Okay. បើសិនជាយើងទៅក្នុងព្រៃតើមានសត្វអីដែលកាចសាហាវជាងគេបងមានតែពស់និងខ្លា Okay.
During the Vietnam War and the Khmer Rouge rule in Cambodia, these forests served as a hiding place for many of the persecuted minorities.
This hole is from the Kawet minorities during Khmer rule, and then they live in the jungle. And then they make hole this one for they're looking for the wild potatoes in the jungle. Yeah. Careful, spiky plant.
Everywhere you go here, you get ripped apart by these spiky vines. I would have thought that it would be relatively strenuous, but the fact that the bush is so dense here exceeded my expectations a bit. We want to spend 2 nights here in the jungle, but first we need a place to sleep.
I hope you say it's good. Yeah.
Really good.
Is not this Buddha. We are believe in gods like everywhere. Traditional. Yeah. We are believe that. We can give rice or some food for the jungle at the morning. And sometimes we are forgot. That is at all. That is okay if we are forgot. If we don't forgot but we don't want to kill him, that is have the problem. Yeah. Sometimes is shot with the knife, and sometimes lost away, and sometimes get headache, yes, everything, and stomach. Yeah. That we pray we would like to lucky. We go in the jungle, we don't have a hospital, sometime like that.
Did you also wake up 1,000 times last night?
aufgewacht heute Nacht.
Yeah, pretty often.
Relativ häufig.
It's gotten surprisingly cold too.
So tonight we have to find a dinner in the jungle, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so this one is different from the one that we drank from, right?
Yeah.
This wine.
Yeah. Another string is good to drink, another string is poison.
So if we cut this and drink this,
We will die.
we'll die.
Yes.
Okay.
Anh ấy về riêng rửa chiết viết em tích nè, rồi thâu khlang về. Mà anh ấy là ví cho nhầm box drop môi anh ấy phải chăm rồi phải pin tiết hay những ai cho spray tam tức những anh đi kia.
Okay.
So this one we eat. This one we cannot eat. This plant. Yeah. I'm wondering how he can be so good at finding the way.
Exactly the daytime he said never lost the way. But at the night time, yes, we will lose some like this.
Com's words worry us. We only have a few hours of daylight left to make it to our campsite.
How far is it still to the camping ground? What do you think? To the river?
Around 3 hours more. Yeah, if we are quick, if we not quick, maybe more.
Completely exhausted, we get there just before it gets dark.
It was difficult, but we enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I'm glad that we didn't disappoint him, that we could follow him. Yeah.
Okay.
when you can swim in the river, when you're kind of out in the woods all day, eating the food you put together afterward. I think there are very few other things that make you feel so satisfied.
When I think about how quickly 2 days at home can sometimes go by, and all that's happened now within these 2 days, and how much I've experienced and how much I've also learned.
Our adventure in Cambodia is coming to an end. Next up for us, a trip to Laos. But at the border crossing, we've got a problem. The officials suspect that we want to sell our motorcycles duty-free in Laos and ask us to turn back.
That doesn't look so great.
This time, there's no other border crossing nearby where we could try again. The border official, the customs officer, he seemed very firm in his opinion. He wasn't going to be convinced.
What are the options? Cancel the whole thing? With a heavy heart, we'll probably have to say that we'll store the bike somewhere here and deal with it later, and then go over to Laos on foot first. And then see how it goes from there. We've got to make the best of it now.
Our motorcycles will be picked up later by friends. For now, we are off on public transport. A few hours later, we're in Laos, but what happens next? No idea. Although the country is much larger than Cambodia in terms of area, only a fraction of the people live here, mostly from fishing or agriculture. We realized that to really explore the vastness of this country, we really need our own bikes again, at least as far as our travel budget allows. We find what we're looking for in the next large town. You didn't have to do that now. Now you're really getting it shoved down your throat. To have any chance at all of getting beyond the city limits with these two used things, it's off to the workshop for a general overhaul. Actually, we would have preferred better motorcycles, but for a handful of Laotian kip, we're at least roadworthy for the time being. Everything's fine, but we'll see if it looks the same tomorrow. Moving on, we decided not to drive directly along the Mekong, but to make a detour to the Ho Chi Minh Trail further east. In the 60s and 70s, the North Vietnamese smuggled their war equipment through Laos in the fight against the Americans. And the US dropped millions of bombs. We quickly realized that we're making slower progress than we thought on these roads.
We've only driven 38 kilometers, and it took us almost 4 hours. From here, it'd now be another 95 kilometers to the day's finish.
Yeah, that sounds unrealistic.
In that case, it will just take longer. Then we'll have to find somewhere to spend the night.
We're lucky. We find the only hotel for miles around just an hour away. $5, you can't complain. Riding a few hundred kilometers on roads like today with our little motorcycles seems almost impossible. But we don't want to turn around either, a decision we hopefully won't regret. Bloody hell.
Forget the engine. We won't be able to continue.
I think it's the carburetor.
Now we have to find the shortest route to civilization.
Probably back the same way, and that's over 30 kilometers now. The road is so shitty you can't even push the bike with the other one. You can forget about it here. There's no net and nothing here either. No idea what we're doing now. We can walk somewhere or we can ride the one bike. Then you have to leave all the luggage behind. I don't know. The fact that it feels like 40 degrees right now doesn't help either. We at least want to make it to the nearest village before it gets dark. So we leave the broken bike behind for the time being and set off to look for help. After a few hours, we pass a small settlement, and for a bit of money, they'll recover our bike for us.
That's worth something. You can get something to drink or something to eat here. There's a roof over your head in an emergency, and other people. That was quite different a few kilometers ago.
We'll wait here while the boys look for our bike. The risk of the sandy path breaking our other bike is too great. The hours go by and we hear no news. Shortly before the sun disappears behind the hills, the search party returns empty-handed. Who here can read and write? The boss here?
Nah, not him, the younger one.
I only understand the word station. Most people here seem to speak some kind of local dialect. Even with the translation app, we're making slow progress. He writes that he couldn't find it.
Maybe someone saw it standing there and just took it.
Apparently, we have to accept that the bike is gone. It's not easy for us to give up here today. At least we find a truck that can take us and our luggage back to our last hotel. After being on the road all day, we end up back where we started in the morning.
Is it because you were too ambitious? Because even though you no longer have the right bikes for it, you still wanted to ride this route? I'm already trying to just look ahead and then somehow just deal with the problem. Because, you know, it doesn't do you any good to get upset about it or get all down on yourself about it. But I'm having a bit of a hard time not doing that right now.
Our plan to drive along the Ho Chi Minh Trail seems to have vanished into thin air today. But we agree that we don't want to break off our journey, even if it means changing our actual route. A few days later, we decide to invest in a new bike one last time. That really hurt the travel budget. But if we're lucky, we'll be able to sell it again later at a halfway decent price. So what are we supposed to do? We don't have any other choice. If we don't want to break off the journey and want to be mobile somehow, that's what this is all about. So you need a motorcycle. This time, on better roads, we're back on the road. And then, a little further north, we come across traces of the war again. "50 years after the end of the Indochina Wars, the scars of that time still run through the Laotian landscape. To this day, tons of explosive are hidden in the soil of Laos. We visit the aid organization MAG.
There was the bombing campaign from 1964 to 1973. This was part of the larger Indochina War where the US and other countries were involved with the war in Vietnam here. And they were bombing essentially to interdict the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which passed through in the north, San Quang, in the south, Cam Ranh, Savannakhet, and other provinces. Basically, if you average it out, you had a bombing mission once every 8 minutes for these 9 years. 270 million cluster munitions were dropped during that time. Around 30% of those may not have detonated.
The employees of MAG have set themselves the goal of clearing the country of bombs, an unimaginable task for us.
I've been with MAG since 2015. People are very happy that we are clearing the bombs that are lying in their fields. People are happy that we get rid of bombs from their farms. I saw some when I was young, but I never knew what they actually were until my parents told me. Those are bombs.
Eli tells us they found explosive devices again today. He's the country director for MAG's work in Laos.
How many items?
24.
24 items in one morning, so that means 24 cluster munitions. The live ones have been found.
So that's a lot.
There's a lot, yeah. Going over. Under each of these sandbags is a blue 26 cluster munition, a live bomb. So you can see how the pattern went when the container dropped. They spread out this way. And it looks like 24 here did not explode. And have been here ever since. It's the exact same color as the dirt.
Yeah. But you can see it's
just the top.
Yeah, I think I can see it. But it would be impossible for me to identify that.
No, you would never know.
Attention, please. Attention, please, everyone. To all residents, every house. This is the evacuation team. We, the clearance staff, are positioned at the clearance site. Everyone, please leave the premises. Everyone, please evacuate.
Okay, and we'll walk to the fire department, right? Yeah.
Okay, so now we have to be quick, yeah?
A little bit to intro with not
Because
in the photo.
now it's live.
Five, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I was on my way to our field with my mother.
อายุก็จิประมาณ9 ปีเนาะถึงเนาะ9 ปี50 ปีนี่แหละ
That I played and dug in the
ไป
ground.
สวนกับแม่แล้วเป็นเด็กน้อย
I came across a bomb and it exploded.
ไปลีนไปสวนไปนี่แล้วก็บ่ฮู้ไปขุดหั่นขุดนี่แล้วก็
This is how I lost my hand and my sight.
พื้นที่ดินนั่นแหละเนาะแข้งกับตานี่แหละแม่
These are the scars that remain.
ถึกอันนั้นก็ถึก
In the beginning, I could still see a little.
ตานี่ก็ถึกเวลามือถึกหั่น
It wasn't until 10 years ago that I went completely blind.
มันถึกใหม่หั่นนะยังหุ่งอยู่
It went slowly.
หายก็มามืดนี่ก็ได้ประมาณ
At first, I could at least
10
make
กว่า
out
ปี
a
นี่
little
แหละเนาะ
bit.
หายก็บ่เห็นจากน้อยๆนี่
I was sad
ตอนนั้นพอเห็นไปมาได้อยู่นะ
that I had been different from the others ever since.
แต่ว่าเฮาเป็นคนบ่คือเพิ่นนะนี่เฮาก็รู้สึกเสียใจหั่นแหละเนาะ
But I had to stay
แต่
strong.
ว่าใจบ่ขาด
It doesn't matter if you've had breakdowns or a bike disappears, the road is bad. Everything takes much longer than expected. We're somehow doing it all out of our own motivation.
When you realize what real problems people have to deal with here, seeing how people deal with it and that they will still find ways to face these challenges and keep going anyway.
Next, it's back to the Mekong for us. The last big part of our journey lies ahead of us. Away from the scenes of war, our path leads us through Luang Prabang. In Laos's old royal city, we have to figure out what to do next. Instead of following the Mekong from here to the west, towards Thailand, we decide to take a tributary. This will take us to the hill tribes in the far north.
We still have one chapter to go. That we've even made it this far.
Every time we set up and take down our camera, we get a little closer to the final stage of our adventure. After more than 2 months on the road, only a few hundred kilometers separate us from our destination. But after going halfway down our chosen route, we can't get any further on the roads.
I think you need to lend a hand.
At the last hotel, we're able to find a boat that'll take us further up the tributary called Nam U. After all of our struggles on the roads, it's good to be out on the water and simply enjoy the view. Once upon a time long ago, the Nam U was the main traffic artery in the area. But several dams have interrupted the river, which makes traveling by boat difficult not only for us, but also for the locals.
We have to get past it somehow now. That is, get the bikes off the boat again, then ride around there and find a new boat behind the dam. And then the whole thing from the beginning.
Because of the dams, there's hardly any regular traffic on the river. The few boat drivers that are still around have to be organized in advance by phone. We've spent the whole day on boats and will be out and about until late into the night. It's only when it gets dark that we realize how isolated we really are.
We've already made it this far up the river. That means we still have to go around a dam today, then get back on the boat, and hopefully we'll be there.
The town of Phong Sal is located near the Chinese border. From here, we want to start the final part of our journey to the surrounding villages. With us are our guides, Kam Hak, who speaks Lao and English, and Peng, who speaks Lao and the local Aka language.
Very tasty. Good lunch. So he's 31, you're 32. I'm 31, Patrick is 29. All from the same generation.
But he has 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids already.
Finally arrived.
What was it earlier? 800 vertical meters up? I think everyone's pretty much done. After our hosts welcome us with local tea and provide us with a place to rest, we want to explore the village in more detail. Life in the village seems to be from another time. People greet us shyly or avoid us altogether. The women in traditional dress are especially skeptical of us. Only when we show them some of our footage from their village does the mood change.
It seems to be more interesting for the kids to see it on the screen than in real life.
Over the next couple of days, we learn a lot about the life of the Aka. For example, where they get their water from. And we're told about the different spirits the Aka believe in.
The house ghost is the most important. There is the forest spirit, the water spirit, the pond spirit, and the spirit exists. There is no spirit for the livestock, but there is a ghost in the rice and in the rice stove.
As unique as the life of the Aka seems to us, much has already changed here too.
Like 10 years ago, they use oil lamp. And before use oil lamp, they chop dry bamboo or wood, small pieces, and make a fire. For example, when they have dinner a bit late in the dark, one guy have to hold the fire and one hand eat. And about the dress, all of women and men, they put a traditional clothes. And most people walk barefoot.
Today, only the women wear traditional Aka clothes. Now you can buy clothes with money. You couldn't before. You had to spin it yourself. But these days, that's hardly the case. We men just follow the trend. Only women don't. I'm glad that you have come. Thank you. You came from so far away. I'm really glad to hear that.
Before we leave, one of the villagers wants to show us a place that not every visitor gets to see.
Das hätte ich jetzt ehrlich gesagt nicht erwartet, dass wir heute Morgen losgegangen sind.
For many generations, the Aka have been growing opium in their fields to use as a traditional medicine. The cultivation of opium is forbidden in Laos. That's why the farmer asks us not to film her face.
We're not in a rush right now. I need to take a break from walking and prepare myself for walking up again. So she's doing that every day, coming down here?
Yeah, every day.
Every day?
Yeah. She also said now it's almost finished.
Yeah.
The next day maybe she gonna relax. So when they finish, they just let it dry and then come again, select the best one, the big one, select the seed I mean.
Yeah.
For the next year.
It's time for us to head back to the village and prepare to leave. You know, this trip probably would have looked completely different 10 years ago. And it'll probably look different again 10 years from now, simply because everything is changing so quickly. We can be grateful that we have these experiences that stay with us.
It makes you appreciate it even more when you know that it's probably not going to be exactly the same as it is right now.
Bye-bye. Bye.
We learned a lot on our trip, not only about life in Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos, but also about ourselves. About how we can deal with change or face difficulties. Or about how valuable the time we have is.